Good evening and welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam on this Tuesday evening, and I'm leaving a movie theater and doing a 30-Minute Reviews episode. It's a very weird set of circumstances just all around. So what we're here to talk about today, that was a maneuver that guy did. What we're here to talk about today is the Sneak Peek Showcase. And first off, I want to issue a correction. There were multiple movies that I mentioned when I did the CinemaCon wrap-up that I inadvertently said were delayed. Well, not inadvertently. I got incorrect information saying these movies were delayed. This was not correct. It appears F1 is still coming out this year, and it also appears that I can't confirm it definitively, but I think what's it called is also coming out this year. The Bride. But regardless, this is a CinemaCon event. Cinemas United, formerly known as NATO, put this together to be like, hey, look, here's all the cool stuff we showed off at CinemaCon. And here's my issue with this. I think this is a very interesting event that they put on. And I think that there is merit to this, especially like it's for charity. You had to pay to get in, and it was like $3, but like it was not a free thing that you can go into. Even with A-List, you had to, you had to, it was a paid event, but the proceeds went to charity, the Cinema Foundation. So like, okay, all of that is fine. I get all of that. The issue is there's very little here that's not already publicly released. So basically what you're doing is you're paying $3 to watch a series of trailers that are already online with 2 behind-the-scenes things and an extended look at Elio. Now, I was already pre-sold on Elio. When I saw the first trailer, I was kind of on board with it, and when I saw the second trailer, I was like, oh, this could be really good. I think the extended look is also really good. But by and large, everything else they showed are all things that are available online, and we've seen in the last week or two since CinemaCon ended. And I'm just kind of like, so what was the point of this? What was the point of this? Like, my issue is, like, now next year, I'm hesitant to do this. Because, like, here's the thing, is that it's like, okay, they showed off Thunderbolts. They showed off the pure cinema trailer, or the absolute cinema trailer of Thunderbolts, the one that's like, look at all of the relations to A24 this movie has. That's the trailer they opted to show, and I'm just like, okay, but like, there's been another trailer since then. So why not use the most recent trailer? The same goes to Fantastic Four. They showed off the teaser that they've been showing off in cinemas or in theaters for months now. And I've seen this trailer a dozen times, the one that ends with Galactus looking over the Statue of Liberty, instead of the new one that ends with Galactus walking through the streets of New York. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't understand why you wouldn't even use the most recent one. Lilo and Stitch only has one trailer, so that's all they showed. And, Tron, the trailer came out the day of the presentation, so that Tron trailer has been out. But, like, none of this is new. None of this is new. Nothing that I went to a theater to go watch was really that new. And the thing is, too, it starts out with this kind of, like, the first thing it opens on is The Ballerina, which is the John Wick spin-off movie, showing off. I don't recall seeing the new trailer. The new trailer is probably online, but the new trailer is what they show off, and I watch it, and I'm like, oh, cool, all right, that's pretty sweet. The issue is you get to the end, and they show off this, like, oh, and here's some behind-the-scenes stuff. We're going to, like, they go through all the stuff, but they only do it for The Ballerina, and they only do it for How to Train Your Dragon. Here's some behind-the-scenes stuff, some stuff that you would normally see, like, on the DVD. We're talking to the cast, we're talking to the director, we're talking to, producers, all that kind of stuff. Like, okay, cool. I like that. Give me more of that. If I'm going to pay $3 to go and see this 2 weeks after, give me something that I'm not seeing. ordinarily. Because the thing is, next year, this is going to be the same event next year. It's like, all right, well, if all the trailers are online already, then we're not going to do this. So we're just going to skip this event. It's not a good use of time. Because that's the thing, is I'm sitting there, I'm like, why am I sitting here again? Like, and then you get to the Disney part. I think the Disney part's the most disappointing, because it's like, when you do the Disney one, and you start with Elio, and Elio starts the way it does, where it's like, you're getting this extended look at the sequence where Elio finally gets abducted by the aliens, or not finally, I don't know where it falls in the movie, but that sequence where he gets abducted by the aliens, and he gets acclimated to this alien world, and it's like, okay, we're getting a deeper look. And then it cuts right to, here's the trailer for Thunderbolts, and it's the trailer, that one that was like the weird one that's like, from the stars of these movies, from the cinematographer of this movie, and it's like, why? Why is this the trailer you're going with for this? And then it's like, then the Lilo and Stitch trailer we've already seen, then the Fantastic Four trailer we've already seen, then the, what's it called one? The trailer for, what's it called? The trailer for Tron Ares. I feel like I'm missing one in the middle there, but like, there's a lot there. And the thing is, too, we know from accounts of people who were at CinemaCon what was shown. If you're gonna do this, and you're gonna have people pay to go see this, why not showcase a bit from Wicked for Good? Why not showcase a bit from Avatar, The Burning Earth, or whatever the fuck the movie's called? Fire and Ash. The Burning Earth was a video game based on Book 2 of Avatar The Last Airbender. Why not do that? Because if you do that, you get you're showing off these are things that you are going to see, things that you would not have seen otherwise. And I think that would have been worth it. Because the thing is, like, the thing that sold me on Avatar The Way of Water was not even necessarily that first trailer that debuted with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. The thing that really sold me was seeing the trailer, or the extended look at Avatar The Way of Water that was tacked onto the end of the re-release of Avatar. That was the thing that really sold me, because it's like in the same way that, like, I said the same thing last year with Dune. I saw the Dune re-release in the theater, and you watched that movie, and at the end it's like, here's the extended sequence of Paul riding the sandworm for the first time. And I left that, and that bit was tacked onto an episode of this podcast where I talked about it. I was like, holy fuck. Like, you watch that, the effects are incredible, how are they going to surpass this? And then you see that, you know, like, holy fuck, they upped it to 11, and they surpassed by a long shot. Like, how did they manage that? And it was the same thing with Avatar years prior, where it was, you see Avatar, like, that looks great. And then you watch that bit at the end where it's like, this is The Way of Water, and you're like, oh, fuck me, they made this look so much better. Like, the first one ages immediately upon seeing it. And I think that if they were like, oh, and here is the trailer for, like, I think there's a solid chance that the trailer for Avatar 3 drops next week. Like, whatever the full trailer is for Avatar 3 is going to end up dropping next week, and that's going to be it. Like, but this is the thing. For Paramount to come out at this event and talk about only showing, all they show is Smurfs, and it's the same trailer I've already seen in the theater, and Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, which again, same trailer I saw last week when I went to see Sinners. So, what was the point of this? What was the point? F1 from Warner Brothers, same trailer I've already seen. Superman from Warner Brothers, same bit I've already seen. Too much of this was, this is all the same stuff I've already seen. Why did I pay $3 to watch this in a loop? And then in the middle they show, and look, this is the only thing I really appreciated, but I think it could have been handled better. in the middle, they do this thing where it's like, Coke does this program to help up-and-coming filmmakers, where it's like, it's this kind of this like mentorship, not mentorship, kind of like an internship almost, where it's like you get to work with the Coca-Cola brand and you get to make a commercial if you're a film student, and it's a cool thing. It gives you experience working with a brand, it gives you experience, working with a crew, and a larger crew than you would have at a film school, working on a student film. It's all a really helpful experience for people trying to get some experience under their wing. And to watch this, and for it to end, like, for them to do that, it's so much of it, though, is focused on Coke. And then you just watch the new ad, and it's like, okay, cool, the new Coke ad, and it's like, the people who are, like, directed it, they don't get a say. We hear from the Coke brand managers. It's such, this whole thing, like, this is my issue with the studios, and with this whole culture of secrecy around movies now, with leaks and all of that. Like, this is something that could have been a really cool at-home event. And it's for charity, and it's like, we're gonna do this in a way that's gonna, we're helping people, where this is not just, us trying to showcase whatever. We are doing, this thing, and because you're coming out to support this, here's what we're gonna do for you. Like, all you needed was one studio to come out and be like, hey, here's our studio head, here's him talking about what we're doing, and here's some big announcement to come out of this, some never before seen footage, or some footage that was only at CinemaCon. Like, that kind of thing would have done wonders for me seeing this. It would have really put me on board with it a lot more. At the same time, this feels like kind of a detente to an extent. Or all the studios are kind of like, well, we don't want to be the only asshole to put something in, so we're just not gonna do what's it called? We're just not gonna do what it is. And it's like, yeah, Disney has, a pretty robust film slate this year. Like, Disney has quite a bit of, of movies coming out. But for them to only show the trailers that have already been publicly released, that just feels like a mistake. Because all this did was make me go like, oh, okay, well, you could have showed me more, because you did, and then you just decided not to. Like, that's something that I think, it weighs poorly. The same goes for, was it Warner Brothers who did the remake of How to Train Your Dragon? No, that's not Warner. No, is that Warner Brothers? Or, I mean, look, like, if Lionsgate came out and was like, Lionsgate has one really massive movie coming out this year, besides the ones they showed, that they just didn't acknowledge, which is a weird choice. And again, Disney did the same thing. Universal did the same thing. Like, for them to be like, no, we're going to hold back on stuff for the back half of the year, like, we're in a different world now in terms of hype cycles, especially for a movie that's part 1 of 2 and part 2 of 2. There's no reason why Wicked for You was not showcased. I can't think of a solid reason why you wouldn't do that as part of a victory lap. Or if you're Warner Brothers, or if you're Universal, also Five Nights at Freddy's. There's no reason why that wasn't shown either. Like, there are so many things that it's just like, why didn't you show that? Like, to try to generate interest for some of your other projects coming out later in the year. I can't think of a solid reason why you would just hold back. Like, because that's the thing, is that it's like, you also get the positive press, I think, to an extent. Because if any of these studios came out, like, that's the thing, is that it's like, watching this, none of the studios really went above and beyond just giving their trailers. And it's like, and again, I'm saying the John Wick thing and the and the How to Train Your Dragon thing is like, oh, well, this is them showing off. That's some footage they hadn't shown before. Like, that's something that's like, oh, okay, so that's something new. But again, that could have been up on YouTube. I don't think Disney put up as much of Elio on YouTube as was showcased in this extended preview. But which is probably why it's the thing I remember the most. Those are the things I remember the most from this. And to get to the end, and it's like, it feels like the script was written before they knew what was going to be in it. Like, it's a weird thing. And I think that what this should have been was, this kind of should have just been a Nintendo Direct kind of thing. And that's kind of what they're going for in how it's framed, where it's like you have this voiceover from this person who comes in, and it's like, here's a sound from this thing, here's a sound from this thing. And it's like, look, what you do is you could have done that same thing, and then you get to the end and it's like, oh, and here's something coming later this year from each studio. Here's a project coming from late this year or early next year from each studio. And again, the other issue I have is all of these studios have major movies coming out outside of these things. Like, when you look at the list of the things that we talked about that came out of CinemaCon, not everything was a major franchise. There are multiple Colleen Hoover adaptations. I mean, granted, she's a massive author. It's just kind of weird that they're like, oh, and we're just not going to acknowledge that. I'm happy that Angel Studios wasn't there. But, like, the biggest waste in this entire thing, I think, was The Accountant 2. I think if you're Amazon and you put that in there, you have to question why. I don't understand why you would... I would assume you had to pay to get into this if you're the studios. I would assume you couldn't just be like, hey, yeah, put that in. But if you're Amazon, I don't know why you would put that in, considering the movie opens in 2 days. The movie opens on Thursday. I don't know why you would put that in with that short amount of time between this and the release. It's like, why bother? Why bother put that much of the movie in there? Like, if someone's not sold on The Accountant 2 by now, seeing it here is not going to sell them. Like, I just don't understand it. I think it's a misunderstanding of what this is. At $3 a pop to see a bunch of trailers, you're going to get diehard people who want to see more. You're not going to get the average person. The average person isn't going to pay to go see this on a weeknight. The average person is not going to pay $3 on a weeknight after work at 6 o'clock to go to a movie theater for an hour to watch this. Everything here, there was nothing here that was not already available. And I think that was a big mistake, because it's a misunderstanding of who's going to go do this. And granted, I mean, I think that NATO or Cinemas United, I think they are kind of profoundly out of touch to an extent. I mean, keep in mind, this is the same group that gave the Filmmaker Maverick Award, or whatever the fuck they want to call it, to Andy Muschietti and his wife for their work on The Flash, because they thought The Flash was going to blow up and be this massive thing. I think they're out of touch with what people want to watch, and to an extent, if this is the Association of Theater Owners and the studio is coming to talk to them, that's a profound problem. And I think that, like, this is the kind of thing where it's like, no one who's sitting here in that theater, and it was a pretty packed theater for, again, a Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. It's a pretty packed theater. To sit there and be like, and here are all the trailers that you've seen over and over again for the last 6 months, and you will continue to see for the next few months until these movies come out, it feels like a mistake. The only company that showed movies coming out later in the year, and I would say, with an asterisk, was Disney. And I feel like the audience that's going to go see this would be okay seeing the A24 stuff. Would be okay seeing behind-the-scenes stuff for every movie. And being like, oh, well, here, we're going to talk about the Thunderbolts. Oh, hey, we're going to talk about this. And I think the thing is, too, if it becomes this thing where it's like every year they're going to release this in theaters, and every year they're going to do this thing where it's like we're getting behind-the-scenes stuff, and you get positive press from like, oh, so here's what Kevin Feige said about this movie that's coming out, that would have been a positive thing. Like, or even if it was, like, you get to the end of this, and it's like, if Disney ended off with any, like, to go out on Tron Ares is a mistake. I can't conceive of a world where it's a good decision for this presentation in the form that it's in to go out on Tron Ares when Disney has, what's it called? Disney has, I mean, they got fucking Avatar coming out later this year. Next year they have Avengers. Next year they have Moana. Next year they have, what's it called? Next year they have, Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, there's so many options. I don't know. I don't think that this was a good outing for anyone involved. I don't think anyone came out of this looking smarter for it. I think everyone kind of, in my opinion, I think this was a complete waste of A, my time, B, everyone's time involved who collaborated this together, C, my and everyone in the theater's money. Because again, I think everyone who's here seeing this is probably like, hey, well, you know, I'm on board with, you know, I know the big names. Everyone knows that Superman's coming out this summer. Everyone knows that the Fantastic Four is coming out this summer. I don't think there's anyone who's going to see this movie or going to see this who is not familiar with the big names coming out in the next 3 to 6 months. Or I would say 3 months, because I think it was rare that you got anything acknowledging going past 3 months out. Because we're now in April, so you didn't really get too much of anything past July. So I don't understand what the point of any of this was. I'm going to be completely honest. If this was free, I could understand that, because people would go to this for free. Like, but again, you're making people pay to get in, even if it is only $3, and it is going to charity. You're making people pay $3 to watch a collection of trailers, and I think that that's a fundamental bad idea. Even if it was, like, you would have been better off doing, like, hey, you pay $3, here's a trailer coming out next week. I would have been more okay with that. It's like, oh, well, here's a trailer for Avatar that's coming out next week or the week after, right before, well, no, it would be next week. Is it? Yeah, it is next week. Fuck. May 1st. Next Friday is, Next Friday is Thunderbolts. Even if it was next week, the Avatar trailer is coming out, you get to see it a few days early. That would have been a better pitch for this event. And I think that is why we're in the situation that I'm in right now, where I'm like, I don't understand why I did this. Which is something that I don't think has ever happened in the 10 years that I've been doing this show. This show, beware of spoilers, the backlog files, and exploring hyperspace lanes. There's not a single time I've walked out of something and been like, that was a complete waste of my time. Because even the bad movies, you can use it as a cautionary tale. They're only running today and Thursday. So I guess maybe if you're someone who's on the fence about going to the Sneak Peek Showcase on Thursday, rather than going to see The Accountant 2, or going to see The Legend of Ochi, or going to see any of the other movies that are out, like, I would say just skip it, because there's nothing here that you're going to get out of this that's going to be worth your time. And I think that this is a profoundly misguided idea by all of the studios in the AMPTP who put this together. This is a profoundly stupid idea. But yeah, that's what we'll wrap up for today. Our next episode of this will be, what's today? Tuesday? I think Thursday will be the next episode when we talk about The Accountant 2. Tomorrow morning on Exploring Hyperspace Lanes, we'll be talking about the first 3 episodes of Andor, which debut in a few hours. But until then, have a great rest of your week.